Welcome to the Rabioba. Today we are going to talk about the impact of education. And I have my co-host here, Dr. Obarzin, who is an educator. Doctor, tell us what are the impact of education?
Precisely. I would want to look at that question again in a more nuanced way, but I think a good foundation for the discussion will be to, first of all, establish the definition of education. You will not just assume that we all have the same
Full
definition of
knowledge,
education.
right?
A lot of people see education in a very narrow or myopic way. My understanding of education is that it's a lifelong process of socialization. It's a process by which people acquire skills, knowledge, values, and habits through teaching, through self-learning, through researches, and through training as well. It's not something you acquired essentially through the four walls of the classroom.
Yeah.
So it's something you can gain from outside as well. If we look at education from that perspective, then we understand that when we're looking at the impact of education, it has significant impact on the individual being educated. It also has significant impact on the society. So we have to look at it from two broad perspectives, and from there we should be able to establish concisely the impact of education.
Because some people do always say that education is a scam, and I feel like maybe when they are talking about being a scam, they're thinking of education from one point of view, just from one angle, being in the classroom.
That narrow perception of education, that education is a process of certification. That's how some people see it.
Absolutely. That's what I was
If you live in a society whereby maybe when you graduate from university, there's no job for you, or you study certain courses that when you take your certificate out, even an employer will ask you, what do you do with this? I attended a forum where someone said that if by the time you leave university and your employer asking you what is this qualification all about, then you know that you are in trouble because they don't really know what the skills that you have. Because of the framing of qualification, sometimes most employers are actually very confused, especially when your qualification is not within the traditional zone, like engineering, mechanical engineering, law.
Exactly. I used to ask questions like that. People that would do sociology, what do you use sociology for?
Or philosophy, but these courses are very relevant.
Yeah, they are.
They have their place
now
in
I
the
know,
society,
but I was saying like what I used to do because I wasn't very knowledgeable and understanding where or what.
So if you're dealing with the public, with employers, you're actually looking at people who are very practical. Capitalists are pragmatic. They are looking at relevance for that has anything that with financial gain. They want to see exactly what you can do for them, what you can bring to the company. They don't want too much of your the razzmatazz that it's not what they are looking at. When people look at education from that perspective, the tendency to consider education as a scam, depending on the societies. Like when the university has just come, you've paid all your fees, you spend years studying, you come out and you discover that your prospective employers are not even familiar with what you are studying. They don't really need your skill. They see education as a scam. Meanwhile, those who go through apprenticeship before you graduate from the university, they are already working. And they might even be the one to interview you for the job that you intend to apply for. Those are people that will come out and say, well, you've been scammed. But I believe education actually started with the kindergarten, with the nursery school. It's not just, I've also witnessed someone describing someone with a high school certificate as being uneducated. And I asked the person, what do you mean? So a lot of people also think that to be educated, you must have a university degree. That is absolutely balderdash. Education starts in the home, actually. In fact, it starts during conception, during pregnancy stage. At the time you are in your mother womb, you started learning certain things. So that's why we say it's a lifelong process for socialization, and to eventually end the day you die. You keep learning whether you're in school or not. If we look at it from that perspective, you can never consider education as a scam. It's you acquire this knowledge to function as an individual, and it has rather broad relevance.
What are the impacts?
Now we want to look at we can start with the impact it has on the individual.
Yes. If you want to go,
it's because
we're just summarizing.
It's because summarizing something that is very, very important. But we can attempt a discussion. But what I consider to be the most significant impact of education for the individual is that it is a process of brings about personal development. It develops you as an individual, and that begins with your critical ability. your ability to look at things, develop that your critical thinking, ability to look at issue, ability to understand life, ability to apply yourself, to take decision, informed decision, and being able to be that's most important. The second one, which most people are familiar with, is that it improve your job prospects.
Yes.
Through the knowledge you have acquired at university, you stand a better chance of getting a job and having any much money,
better life.
Better life. Brings about financial stability.
Yes.
And from the individual perspective, also it could also help with class mobility. For example, if you are born into a poor family, very poor background, you're the only viable or one viable, I wouldn't say the only, to say only is one viable option you have to climb the ladder, to move to the middle class and possibly to the upper class. You can only achieve that through education. In addition to all of that, also education also brings about empowerment of the individual. Once you're educated, you are confident, you feel empowered.
Knowledge is power.
And you can feel empowered and you can achieve a lot for yourself. You also know your rights and your privileges.
Yes.
You are likely to going to be a very good citizen as well.
Yes.
And being able to
contribute to your community as well. Own life, yes.
Again, education may also improve your health. A lot of people will say that there are no direct correlation between education and health. Just because if you are educated, you will be able to access all the opportunities you have in the society that will help enhance your health. You will know where to go for help and when to even consult your doctor if you are not feeling well and so on. So that's why we have health inequalities in every society. Health inequality is a product of educational inequalities. They somehow put together. With the individual, we could keep going on. We never really come to the end of the discussion.
Yes.
Then, on the other aspect, if we want to look at why education is important for the society, I have this general, I wouldn't call it an axiom because some people may not agree, but to me, it should be an axiom. I say that the level of development in a country is a reflection of the quality of citizens. When you see, you have so many people, they will tell you, we have educated people in my country, we have so many professors. If it doesn't reflect
on your political system,
if it doesn't reflect on your political system, your social system, on these institutions you have in your country, it doesn't reflect on your technological advancement, then your citizens are probably just being certificated and not really educated. Yes. It should reflect. It brings about economic development. It brings about growth in a society. It's also very important when it comes to political stability. The more citizens are educated, the more they are able to participate in the political process and able to choose a leader that actually represents them. And this is why in one of my essays, I argued that it's a very controversial and even annoying presentation. When I gave that presentation, a lot of people said, "Whoa, what are you doing?" I argued vehemently that most African countries were given independence at a time they were not ready for it. Considering the level of education that time, you can't expect people that are not very much aware to participate in the political process and to understand what democracy is.
That is a topic on its own.
It's still being reflected.
I get the point you're trying to make. Yes, being someone who have so many years of teaching experience, both in Africa and in Europe, teaching English and various
different levels.
Yes. But how would you say what parents' impact or the impact of home support, how does that benefit students in school?
Home support is absolutely significant. It's not something you could...
Because the reason why I'm asking this, so that we just add this other point there. When people relocate and migrate, go to another country, for example, you are speaking Romanian or Chinese or whatever, and English is not your first language. When you travel, people from those kind of democratic areas tend to suffer in school because because of language barrier. I think home support in general, whether even it's your first language or you migrate, it has a lot of impact. And also, if you can also elaborate more on the challenges that people from those kind of background face in school.
Being in the English department actually gave me the opportunity to understand the difficulties that migrant children encounter when they come to the UK. Language is a major barrier. In fact, language, I define language as a tool that we use in assessing education when it comes to education. In fact, everything about education is language. If you want to be a medical doctor, actually, you are studying the language of medicine. If you want to be an engineer, you are studying the language of engineering. Yeah. The whole of educational process is a process of linguistic acquisition, depending on the field you need to. I had the opportunity to support actually children from migrant children from different backgrounds, from Bahrain. At a point, we had large influx of students from Syria, Ukraine, so many other countries, and from Africa as well. Even when children come from English-speaking Africa, when they come over here, they still have significant barrier to accessing education because the language may be the same, but the experience is quite distinct. We have very effective support system for them in my school there. But even at that, home support is very important. Yes. And this is where the problem comes in. If the parents are also migrant, they are in a position where they cannot actually support their children adequately because they haven't got the understanding of the educational system, and they may also be having linguistic issues themselves. They are also trying to get used to the system, and then the children are also passing through a lot. It's quite immense, and home support, you can't rule out home support from education. Yes, this is why in schools also you have the disparity we see in schools in terms of achievement, in terms of students' achievement and performance, is not a reflection of the quality of teachers in the classroom. And that's where many people get it wrong. They want to
always blame the teachers, though.
They want to say
if your child is not doing well,
or maybe if a school is producing a excellent result, it's okay. Oh, the teachers
are good, but it's not really on the teachers. No, not 100%, but
it is never. It is never about teachers. All the teachers virtually have the same qualification. And from my experience, I can tell you that schools that have a low performance in external examinations actually have the best teachers.
It is a very valid point. Listen.
They go for the most experienced teachers. When I was at the initial stage of my education, I was giving examination class because I wasn't experienced. You need the experienced teacher at the base when the students are just coming in to actually shape them, to mold them. And when they have passed through that refinement, you can give them to any teacher. They started learning on their own actually. That's what you find there. That when you go to the schools,
the private schools,
where students are doing well, the difference is that you look at the area, and you look at the catchment area, look at where they get their students from. The performance of the students is a reflection of the home they come from. Not a reflection of the teachers. You see schools in affluent area tend to perform better. I don't want to name schools in the case of Aberdeen. I've just done that immediately and just give you examples of our schools in affluent area because those parents influence.
I think you're trying to
they influence the learning of their children at home. They provide them with support. They give them stable routine, and they are also children that experience less trauma as well. If you have in a school area where I taught in a school that gets students from both affluent home and from poor background. You different within the student. We have students that were exceptional, and we have some that were not really exceptional. We have students that come to school every day with trouble because some of these students, their parents are in prison, some are in care, and some are in homes that are not really functioning properly. It affects them. They don't have that support back home. I've heard someone arguing that, telling the child you should do well because those children that are doing well, they don't have two heads. Obviously,
put the blame
it's not about the number of heads you have. The point is disparity, differences starts at the lower level, even from nursery school.
Yes.
The kind of nursery school you attended, the differences are already there. So to bridge that gap is difficult. But nature does its work at some stage because you could see someone from a very remote area with no access to technology.
Those are exceptional cases.
And doing well later on. But it takes a lot of effort from those students as well. A lot of sleepless nights. We know the sleepless night that we put in.
I know. With that, we end the topic here. Next episode, watch out, where we're going to elaborate more on this point and also how parents can help and support. Because sometimes it's all about lack of education and not understanding what the school system is all about and what are they looking for and the best support system that you can give to your child. Elaborate on that. Thank you guys for watching and see you again soon.
All right.
Have a lovely day. Bye.